A year ago, I thought I was finally closing a chapter. I was finishing up a long project out of town, living out of a damn motel, eating Waffle House way too often, and trying to make sense of what the hell was left of my relationship. Tiffany and I had been together for nearly 4 years. Honestly, the last year, it was like watching paint peel. Cold silences, pointless fights, her being on her phone constantly, but flipping out if I so much as glanced at mine. I already knew we were done, I just didn't have the guts to end it over the phone. I figured I'd do it when I got back. Face to face. Like a decent human. Big mistake. The day I got back to Atlanta, I didn't even get through my front door before she blew up my phone. "We need to talk. It's important. Come over, please." So I go. Her apartment smells like cinnamon candles and tension. She opens the door all giggly like we're in a damn rom-com and says, "Guess what, you're gonna be a daddy." I swear to God, I thought she was joking. I actually laughed. Not because it's funny, but because WTF. Then it hit me. She was serious. I asked her how far along, already doing math in my head like a panicked accountant. She says, between 4 and 7 weeks. I froze. I had been out of town for 6 weeks. She knew that. She counted the days when I was gone. So how the hell was I the father? I just said, "Are you sure about that timeline?" And she goes, "Yes, this is your baby." Like that, just period. No room for question. I took a deep breath and said, "Tiff, I've been gone for 6 weeks. That math doesn't make sense." Cue the switch. She went from glowing to furious in 0.2 seconds, accused me of calling her a liar, of abandoning her in her most vulnerable moment. She literally yelled, "You don't get to walk away now." I told her we needed a paternity test, and if the kid was mine, I'd step up. I wasn't gonna bail if this was real, but I wasn't signing up for someone else's mess. She flipped out, full meltdown mode. "You want a test? That's disgusting. I don't need to prove anything to you." I said, "Okay, but I'm not doing this without one. No test, no contact." She just stood there, arms crossed like a damn dictator, and said, "I don't accept that. You don't get to break up with me." Girl, what? 2 weeks later, I was the villain of the year. Within days, it started. Suddenly, I was getting texts from mutual friends, ex-co-workers, even some of her friends I barely knew. "Hey man, I heard what happened. You can't just leave her like that. She's pregnant and alone. Grow up." And I'm like, how? What is she saying? Apparently, I had run away, refused to acknowledge the baby, and blocked her while she was crying herself to sleep. All lies. Meanwhile, she was all over social media with those corny black and white bump selfies, writing captions like, "You're stronger than you think, baby girl, even if daddy's not around." Yeah, that baby girl was Lucy. That name she picked, she never even asked me. At this point, I hadn't seen a single piece of proof. No ultrasound with my name, no test, just vibes and guilt trips. My lawyer told me to stay the hell away until there was legal confirmation, or else anything I gave her, even $20, could be used as evidence I accepted paternity. And here's the kicker, even when I tried to be nice, like, "Okay, let me know if you're ready for the test," she'd block me and then post on her story about how I emotionally abused her and kept trying to control her. Like, bro, I'm just trying to know if I'm the dad or not. Why is that illegal now? The guilt tripping escalated fast. Over the next few months, it turned into a horror movie. Random texts. "Lucy smiled today. Shame you weren't there." Or pictures of the baby who, let's be real, didn't look a damn thing like me with captions like, "Where's daddy?" Then it got weird. One night, I was at Publix buying cat litter and frozen pizza, and there she was with the baby. She walks up like we're still dating. "Oh, Ryan, look who it is. Lucy wanted to see you," I deadass said. "Tiffany, what the hell are you doing?" She pouted like I just kicked a puppy and started whisper screaming, "Don't make a scene. This is your daughter." I walked away, fast. But that became a pattern. She started coincidentally showing up at places I went to, often my gym, my coffee spot, even my damn dry cleaners. Each time she acted like we were a happy little broken family, and I was the one being cold. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to buy deodorant in peace. I had enough and filed for a restraining order. Got it granted for 2 years. Not easy in Georgia without physical threats. But the judge saw the paper trail. I thought I'd get peace. Nope. 2 years later, almost to the day, I get a text. Lucy's starting preschool. She asked why you never come. Are you kidding me? Turns out I wasn't the only deadbeat dad in Tiffany's life. 6 months ago, I met up with Ben, a college buddy I hadn't seen in forever. We're catching up, and Tiffany's name comes up. Ben goes, "Dude, you're not going to believe this. My friend Dave, I think she pulled the same baby stunt on him. I damn near dropped my drink." I reach out to Dave. Not only did she try to claim he was Lucy's dad, but when he asked for a paternity test, she freaked out and ghosted him. I couldn't even be mad and I was just numb. Then we started digging. Between Ben, Dave, and me, we started tracing old connections, Instagram comments, exes, people who dated Tiffany between 2017-2019. Turns out there were 3 more guys. One of them, Steve, had been sending her money for 2 years, $300 a month, thinking he was doing the right thing for Lucy. No test, no proof, just guilt. When I heard that, something inside me snapped. This wasn't just drama. This was a pattern. A scam. And I wasn't about to let her pull it on the next guy. I don't think I've ever felt a mix of rage and clarity like I did that night after talking to Steve. It wasn't just about me anymore. She was running the scam on multiple guys, manipulating each one with the same script Lucy needs her daddy. I'm struggling alone. You're abandoning us, but changing up the details just enough so no one ever talked to each other. Except now we were talking. Me, Ben, Dave, and Steve all got on a group call. It felt like an AA meeting for emotionally scammed dudes. We started laying it out, timelines and messages, phone screenshots, old Venmo receipts, the whole 9. I kept asking myself, how the hell did she keep all this straight? But it made sense. Tiffany always had a gift for knowing exactly how much to push before someone snapped. The crazy part, none of us had ever pushed back. I had spent years dodging her, hiding behind lawyers, just trying to make her go away. But now, I was done playing defense. This was about Lucy, too. That kid was being raised inside a damn soap opera and had no clue. So we lawyered up together. Dave found a bulldog of a family attorney named Cheryl, who looked like she'd fought in 5 custody wars before breakfast. We laid out everything. She sat there, arms crossed, dead silent. When we finished, she looked at us and said, "This is a pattern of emotional fraud and coercion. You have a case, but it needs to be airtight." Game on. We started pulling everything. Messages where Tiffany claimed different men were the father. Screenshots of her asking for money. One video where she literally said on a friend's IG live, "Men are dumb. You just have to cry and mention a baby, and they'll empty their bank account." It was grainy, but her voice was crystal clear. The prep took 3 months. Cheryl didn't want to go public until we had everything ready. She warned us, once we file, it's going to get ugly. She'll spin the narrative fast. But if we stay calm and stick to the facts, we win. And I believed her. Because finally, it wasn't just me up against Tiffany. We filed the lawsuit. Fraudulent emotional coercion. Defamation for the deadbeat claims. Financial deception. And a formal paternity request backed by the court. And just like clockwork, Tiffany lost her mind. She posted a crying video the same night, no joke. On Instagram, black and white filter, sad music, mascara running. "I can't believe the father of my child is attacking me like this. I've done everything alone. Everything. And now he's dragging my daughter into court. Why? For what ego?" Her comment section was full of "men ain't shit," and "you're so strong, mama," and all the usual support she'd been living off of for years. But something was different this time. Because the next day, Steve posted his own story with screenshots of her asking him for money and refusing a DNA test. Then Dave posted his. Then I did. Then our lawyer issued a press statement confirming that this was not one man, but four, all with nearly identical experiences. And suddenly, the tide shifted. People started noticing. The support Tiffany crowd got real quiet. Her old high school friends unfollowed her. Someone on Reddit made a thread about the situation that went viral. People were dissecting the timelines, comparing her captions, screenshots, calling her Gaslight Barbie, and while all this chaos unfolded online, we were getting ready for court. We didn't even know if Tiffany would show up. Part of me thought she'd run, go radio silent like she did with Dave. But nah, she showed dressed like she was going to Easter brunch, holding Lucy's hand like a prop. She looked at us like we were strangers. I don't think she even blinked. The courtroom was dead silent when the judge walked in. Tiffany's lawyer tried to spin it, immediately called us a group of bitter exes with a vendetta, said we were ganging up on a struggling single mother. Cheryl shut that down so fast it was beautiful. She laid out every point with no fluff. 4 separate men told they were Lucy's father. 4 requests for DNA tests, all denied. One man financially exploited for over a year. Public defamation campaigns aimed at all 4 men. One common thread, Tiffany. Then she played the audio clip. You could hear a pin drop. Men are dumb. You just have to cry and mention a baby, and they'll empty their bank account. The judge looked at Tiffany like she had just slapped him. Her lawyer tried to object, saying it was out of context. The judge just raised an eyebrow and said, "We'll let the DNA do the talking." He ordered tests for all of us, Tiffany objected, said it was humiliating, unnecessary, and a violation of her maternal rights. The judge replied flatly, "If your claims are honest, you have nothing to fear." That was the moment I knew we'd won, because for the first time in years, she wasn't in control. When we left the courtroom, she wouldn't even look at us. Lucy kept trying to talk to her, but Tiffany was too busy fake crying for a camera crew that was conveniently waiting outside. I didn't say a word, just walked to my car and drove home. The next few weeks were a blur. While waiting for the DNA results, I tried to prepare myself for anything. But the truth is, I already knew. I think I'd known from day one. Still, when the results came in, my hands were shaking. I was at work when Cheryl called me. I stepped outside and asked her, "So," she said, "you're not the father. None of you are." I don't even remember what I said next. Relief doesn't even cover it. It felt like my body exhaled for the first time in years. I texted the guys. They responded instantly. "Told you. We're finally free." I'm framing this paper. It was a weird kind of celebration. No champagne, no confetti, just silence, peace, closure. But of course, Tiffany didn't take it well. She showed up at my house the next morning, barefoot, screaming in the driveway, full-on meltdown, accused me of turning Lucy against her, said I was a snake, said I'd ruined her life. She kicked my trash bin so hard it dented. The cops came. She got arrested for violating the restraining order. I watched from the upstairs window. Didn't even go outside. That was the last time I saw her in person. A week later, I got a letter through my lawyer. It wasn't from Tiffany. It was from her grandmother, Rose. She apologized, said she'd had no idea what Tiffany had been doing. Apparently, she was the one supporting Tiffany financially this whole time. Believed everything she was told. Thought I'd abandoned my own child. Now that she knew the truth, she'd cut off all support. Lucy was living with her now. And attached to that letter was another one. From Lucy. It was written in shaky 10-year-old handwriting. To the man I thought was my dad. "I'm sorry, Mom said a lot of things that weren't true. I don't know what to believe anymore. But thank you for trying to do the right thing, Lucy." I just sat there, read it 5 times, didn't even realize I was crying until I saw the paper get wet. None of this was Lucy's fault. She was just a kid caught in a story someone else wrote for her. I wrote back. Nothing long, just said I forgave her, that she didn't owe me anything, and that I hoped she got to grow up safe, happy, and surrounded by people who actually cared about her for real. And that was it. I was done. For the first time in a decade, I wasn't looking over my shoulder. I wasn't wondering when the next guilt text would pop up, or if someone would whisper behind my back about the baby I abandoned. Tiffany's game was over, and I had my life back. It had been about a month since everything finally blew up in court. I was still getting used to the silence. No texts, no surprise pop-ins, no guilt-trippy Instagram stories tagging me indirectly. It felt weird, like my brain didn't know what to do without the constant buzzing of drama. I'd started sleeping better. Work was going smoother. My friends, the real ones, finally stopped giving me those pity glances. And I was starting to feel like a human being again. I had closure. I was out. Then I got a message. It was from Lucy. At first, I didn't even recognize the name when it popped up on Facebook. Just Lucy W. and a profile pic of her standing in some park. I clicked it, assuming it was spam, and then I saw her face. Same big brown eyes, same messy hair from the old photos Tiffany used to send me back when she was playing the missing dad card. She was older now, probably around 10, and she messaged me. Super simple. Hi. I hope it's okay, I messaged. I just wanted to talk. I stared at the screen for a full 5 minutes. No idea what to say. Was this another trap? Was Tiffany behind it? Was this real? But my gut told me this was different. This wasn't a guilt trip or a setup. This was just a confused kid reaching out. So I replied, "Hey Lucy, it's okay. What's on your mind?" She didn't respond for a couple of hours. But when she did, it was a whole paragraph. Said she'd been living with her great-grandma Rose since her mom got arrested again. Said she found out the truth after the court stuff. And it felt like the world got pulled out from under her. Said she wasn't angry at me, just confused. Honestly, reading that message hit harder than any of Tiffany's manipulation ever did. This wasn't supposed to be Lucy's mess. She didn't choose this story. She just got dragged along for the ride. I told her I was open to talking. No pressure, no weird expectations, just whatever she needed. We started chatting every few days. Just small stuff. She'd ask questions, nothing heavy at first. What's your job like? Do you like cats? What was your favorite video game when you were my age? And I'd answer like I was talking to any kid I cared about. Eventually, she opened up more. She asked me if I ever believed I was her dad. I told her the truth, yeah, for a minute, because that's what her mom wanted me to believe. But it never really added up. She said she hated being lied to, that it made her feel like she didn't even know who she was. And honestly, I didn't have a fix for that. I just told her it was okay to feel that way. Then she dropped something I didn't expect. I want to find out who my real dad is, and I was wondering if you'd help me. I won't lie, that scared the hell out of me. Not because I didn't want to help her, but because I didn't know what I was signing up for. This wasn't just some kid asking about homework. This was her identity and her entire life. I took a breath and said, "Yeah, I'll help. But just so we're clear, this isn't about me being your dad. I'm just here to help you get answers." Okay. She sent a thumbs up, and so we started. First, she dug through her mom's old stuff at Rose's place. Photos, letters, journals, anything that might give us a clue. Most of it was garbage old selfies, receipts, half-finished grocery lists. But one photo stood out, a faded Polaroid. Her mom on a beach, standing next to some dude in a striped tank top, both smiling like they had no idea how messy life was going to get. No date, no name. But Lucy said her mom mentioned once that she had a serious boyfriend before I ever came into the picture. We stared at that photo for hours, trying to figure out if the guy looked familiar. He didn't. Not to me, not to Lucy either. So we did what all good modern detectives do. We hit the internet. Reverse image search got us nowhere. But Lucy remembered a first name Alex. She wasn't sure if it was connected to the photo or not, but it was something. So we started searching through Facebook, old MySpace archives, even freaking classmates. Calm. I felt like some weird hybrid of Sherlock Holmes and a desperate uncle. After a few days, we found him, Alex Miller, from Savannah. around the same age as Tiffany, the guy in the profile pic, 90% match to the beach Polaroid. He looked older now, Beard. Some gray in the hair, but the face was the same. Lucy didn't hesitate. She messaged him. "Hi, you don't know me, but I think you might be my dad." That was it. No preamble, just straight-up kid honesty. Alex didn't reply that night. Or the next. And I could see Lucy getting antsy. Like maybe she'd just hit send on a mistake. But then he did. 3 days later. "Hi, Lucy. Can we talk? I'm not sure what's going on, but I'd like to understand." We set up a video call. Lucy asked me to be there too, just in case things got weird. And honestly, I was glad. She was nervous as hell, and I didn't want her facing something like this alone. Alex joined the call. He looked surprised, a little shaky, but kind. He listened to Lucy explain everything about Tiffany, the lies, the court mess, and the fact that 4 guys had been falsely told they were her dad. And when she showed him the beach photo, he froze. "Yeah, that's me. That was the summer after college. Your mom and I dated for about 6 months." Lucy asked the big question, "Is there any chance you could be my real dad?" You could see the fear in his eyes, but he didn't run. He said yes, he wanted to know too. He agreed to a DNA test right then and there. Paid for it. No hesitation. No guilt-tripping, just a guy who wanted to do the right thing. It took about 2 weeks to get the results. During that time, Lucy barely slept. She kept second-guessing everything. What if it wasn't him? What if she never found her real dad? What if she'd always be stuck with the mess her mom left behind? I tried to be there. I didn't push, just listened. Reminded her that whatever the result, she wasn't alone. Then the results came in. She called me first. Couldn't even get the words out. So I said, "Is it him?" She nodded, crying. "It's him. Alex is my dad." I swear, I felt like someone had just turned on a light in a dark room. Not for me, this wasn't my story anymore, but for her. She finally had a real answer. Alex stepped up. I mean, really stepped up. They started meeting every week. He invited her to meet his parents, her grandparents, helped her set up therapy sessions, bought her a journal and told her to write about anything she couldn't say out loud. He didn't try to be a superhero, just a decent man trying to make up for lost time. And watching it all unfold, it was surreal. I'd spent years thinking Lucy was my burden, my mistake, my guilt trip. Now she was just a kid rebuilding her life with the person she actually came from. One night, she messaged me, "Thanks for helping me find him. I don't know what would have happened if you didn't say yes." I told her she did all the hard parts. I just showed up when she asked. And honestly, that's all I ever wanted from the start. To be someone who showed up, for once, that was enough. I thought that was it. Lucy found her real dad. I stepped out of the picture. Clean break, right? No more drama, no more courtrooms, no more emotional ping-pong with Tiffany's lies. But nah, life's never that tidy. About 2 weeks after Lucy's reunion with Alex, I get a call from Cheryl, our lawyer. She's like, "Hey, you might want to sit down for this." Never a good sign. Apparently, Tiffany had filed some kind of appeal. Not to overturn the DNA results because that ship had fully sunk, but to sue me for emotional distress and character assassination. I swear, I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my coffee. Like, really? This woman spent years dragging my name through the dirt, slandering me all over social media, ambushing me in grocery stores with a baby, faking parenthood across 4 different guys like it was a side hustle, and now I'm the bad guy. Screw that. But Cheryl warned me not to get cocky. This is a last-ditch power grab. She said, she's flailing, but we still have to treat it seriously. Fine, we'd play it by the book, again. She tried to argue that all the posts exposing her scam had ruined her career prospects, that she'd been cyberbullied into isolation, that I weaponized a child's paternity to destroy her reputation. It was pure, unfiltered delusion. And honestly, I was pissed. Not even because she was coming after me, but because Lucy was finally healing, and now her mom was back stirring the pot like a damn chaos chef. Cheryl filed a motion to dismiss. We had enough evidence to bury Tiffany in her own contradictions. Hell, we still had the voice recording of her bragging about milking sympathy for cash. But court takes time, and while we waited, the universe decided to throw in a few more gut punches. First was the local news. Somehow, a reporter caught wind of the whole mess. Maybe someone leaked the case files. Maybe Tiffany tipped them off, hoping to play the victim on a bigger stage. Doesn't matter. The story dropped online with the most ridiculous headline I've ever read. Deadbeat or Deceived, the paternity plot that shocked a small town. It went viral in like 4 hours. Everyone was talking about it. At work, at the gym. Even my barista at the cafe looked at me weird when I ordered my usual. I could feel the judgment start creeping back in. And man, that old panic. It flared up hard. I didn't want to relive that crap again. Not after finally clawing my way out. But then something wild happened. The comments section wasn't buying Tiffany's story this time. People were like, wait, 4 different guys refused paternity tests for all of them, and sounds like someone's been playing the long con. Even folks I didn't know were defending us. Total strangers. It was the first time I saw public opinion actually swing toward truth instead of pity theater. And Tiffany, she lost it. She went on another Instagram rant, this time live, sobbing and shouting about betrayal, how men were weaponizing the legal system, how Lucy was being brainwashed by a bunch of bitter losers. It was gross, full meltdown, rambling, sweaty, blaming everyone but herself. Then Lucy messaged me. Did you see what she posted? I said yeah, asked if she was okay. She sent me a single word, embarrassed. That one hit harder than anything Tiffany ever said, because Lucy, she wasn't even mad anymore, just disappointed. That's the part I don't think Tiffany ever understood. You can lie, manipulate, spin every damn detail. But when your own kid looks at you and feels nothing but shame, that's the kind of loss you don't bounce back from. The next few weeks were quiet. Court date kept getting delayed. Tiffany stopped posting altogether. Radio silence. Then out of nowhere, Rose, the grandmother, calls me. And what she says completely unexpected. She tells me Tiffany's been admitted to a psychiatric evaluation facility, not jail, not rehab, a full-on mental health center. Rose had finally convinced a judge to mandate it after Tiffany showed up at her house, threatening to sue her too. It's like she imploded all the way down. Part of me didn't know how to feel. Like, yeah, I was angry. Hell yeah. She wrecked years of my life. But hearing that she was finally under supervision, getting some kind of treatment, it didn't make me feel triumphant, just tired. Rose asked if I'd consider writing something for the court, some statement about my experience. She said it could help contextualize Tiffany's patterns for her treatment team. I didn't owe her that. I knew it. But I said yes anyway. Because maybe, just maybe, if someone finally forced Tiffany to look in a mirror and see what she'd done, maybe Lucy could get closure too. So I sat down and wrote the most brutally honest thing I've ever put on paper. I wrote about the false accusations, the guilt-tripping, the manipulation. But I also wrote about the nights I wondered if I was the bad guy, how isolated it made me, how much I second-guessed myself, how it changed the way I trusted people, how I looked at relationships, even how I saw myself. I wrote that I didn't hate Tiffany, but I did pity her. Because at the end of the day, she wasn't trying to build anything real. She was just trying to control the narrative, to stay relevant in her own delusion. I sent the letter. Didn't expect anything to come from it. But a few days later, Rose called again. Said the doctors read my statement and it shook something loose in Tiffany. For the first time, she wasn't blaming someone else. She broke down crying and said, I think I really hurt people. I don't know if it's real. Maybe it's performative. Maybe it's a step. Doesn't matter. That part's not my story anymore. But here's what is. Lucy's doing better than I've ever seen her. She still messages me sometimes, just to share something funny she found or a meme that made her laugh. Nothing heavy. Just life stuff. Alex is stepping up like a pro. They're seeing a family counselor, building a rhythm. She even met her half-siblings. Said she finally feels like she belongs somewhere that isn't built on a lie. And me, I'm good. Like, actually good. I started dating again, slowly, carefully. This time with my eyes wide open and my boundaries locked tight. I don't look over my shoulder anymore. I don't dread surprise calls or legal threats. And you know what? I'm proud of how I handled this. Proud I didn't retaliate. Proud I didn't let bitterness take over. Proud I showed up for Lucy when it counted. Sometimes healing doesn't look like some grand victory lap. Sometimes it looks like waking up and not feeling dread in your chest for the first time in years. Sometimes it's just peace. A couple of months passed after the whole storm finally calmed. I didn't realize how much space Tiffany had taken up in my head until she was actually gone. Like, mentally gone. Not lurking online, not blowing up my phone with guilt trips, or showing up at my job with her damn family reunion theatrics. Just quiet. And for once, I didn't feel guilty about the quiet. I embraced it. I let myself sit in it. That silence. That peace, it wasn't empty, it was freedom. I spent more time at the gym, picked up cooking again, got into hiking, of all things. Turns out getting lost in the woods with no signal was exactly what my soul needed. No court dates, no lawyer voicemails. No, hey man, you hear what she said now texts. Then one Saturday, Lucy called me out of the blue. No warning, no preamble, just her name lighting up my screen. I hesitated. Honestly, I wasn't sure if I should answer. I wasn't her dad. I wasn't family. I wasn't even technically in her life anymore. But curiosity, or maybe loyalty, got the better of me. I picked up. Hey, I said. She was quiet for a second. Then she goes, "Do you think people can actually change?" That hit me like a truck. No context, no easing into it. Just boom, existential dread from a 12-year-old. I didn't say anything right away. I could tell this wasn't a random question. Depends. I finally said, "Change is easy to fake, hard as hell to mean." She goes quiet again. Then she tells me Tiffany's been writing her letters from the hospital. Apparently part of her treatment plan involved accountability journaling, and one of her therapists suggested she write to Lucy. The first couple were apparently pure garbage. Excuses, half apologies, weird manipulative crap dressed up as reflection. But the latest one, Lucy said it felt different. She said she's sorry, and not like, "I'm sorry you felt that way." She actually said she lied, and that it was wrong, that she hurt me, that she ruined things. I didn't know what to say. What the hell do you say to that? I asked her how she felt about it. She said she didn't know, said it made her feel things she wasn't ready for, angry, but also weirdly relieved, like she wasn't crazy for thinking her mom was lying all those years. "I want to believe her," Lucy said, "but I also don't want to open that door again. I don't want her to break me twice." God damn, I just sat there, jaw clenched, because yeah, I got it. More than she knew. Then don't, I told her. You don't owe her forgiveness. Not now, not ever. Not unless you want to. She was quiet for a beat. Then she whispered, "Thanks. I just needed someone to say that." That was the last time we talked for a while. She was figuring things out on her own, and I respected that. I told her I'd always be around if she needed me, but I wasn't gonna hover. And me, I started letting go. Not the fake kind, where you tell yourself you're fine, but secretly stalk your ex's profile at 2 a.m. I mean really letting go. I stopped waiting for the next shoe to drop. I stopped imagining Tiffany showing up with some new wild accusation. I stopped treating life like I was always one bad headline away from another spiral. One night, I sat on my porch, whiskey in hand, and just thought about how far I'd come. From being the guy with the missing dad drama hanging over his head to just being a dude enjoying a quiet evening. That's when my buddy Nate swung by. He hadn't really been around during most of the mess. He'd moved across the country a few years ago, but we always kept in touch. He was in town for work and decided to surprise me. We ended up talking for hours, caught up on life, vented about work, joked about our awful high school haircuts. Eventually, he goes, "So what had happened with that girl who said you had a kid?" I told him the whole story. From Tiffany's lies to the courtroom drama to the twist with Lucy and Alex. He just sat back and shook his head. "Man, that's insane. How the hell did you not lose your mind?" I shrugged. "I almost did." He nodded, then said something that stuck with me. "You ever think about how much strength it takes not to burn it all down? Like, you could have gone scorched earth. But you didn't. That's rare. And I hadn't really thought about it like that before." Yeah, I'd fantasized about revenge, about blasting Tiffany online, exposing every nasty thing she did, about lawsuits and smear campaigns and turning her own tactics against her. But I never pulled the trigger. Not because I was weak, but because deep down, I knew revenge wouldn't heal anything. Truth did. Boundaries did. Letting go did. That conversation shifted something in me. I realized I didn't want to be the guy with the wild, crazy ex story anymore. I didn't want that to be the main thing people remembered about me. Hell, I didn't even want it to define me anymore. So I started saying yes to life again. I joined a volunteer group that helped people dealing with paternity fraud and false accusations. You'd be shocked how common it is. Guys too scared to speak up, ashamed to admit they got conned. I shared my story a few times anonymously at first, and it hit people. Some cried, some got angry. One guy told me hearing it helped him not feel alone for the first time in 5 years. That meant more than anything. Later, I was asked to help start a peer support program. No therapy, just real talk, safe spaces for men who felt like they'd lost their voice in the chaos. That's where I met Drew, mid-30s, quiet, beat-down look in his eyes. He sat through one of our sessions without saying a word. Then, afterward, he waited for everyone to leave and pulled me aside. "I think I'm going through what you went through," he said. "She says the baby's mine, but the timeline's off. And when I asked for a test, she lost it." My stomach turned. Deja vu. I gave him a card, told him to call me any time. A few weeks later, he did. Turns out she was bluffing. He got the test, not the father. He cried on the phone, not relief grief. Grief for the time, the love, the dreams he'd already built in his head. That's the part people don't talk about, the emotional fallout. You start building a future before you even have facts. Then when it collapses, it's like mourning a family that never even existed. Helping Drew helped me more than I realized. It reminded me that what I went through wasn't just some freak storm. It was systemic. It was human. And it wasn't my fault. Eventually, Lucy reached out again. This time, with a photo, her, Alex, and his family at some lake house. She was grinning like an actual kid again. No fake smiles, no sadness in her eyes, just joy. "Thought you'd want to see this," she wrote. And yeah, I did want to see it. I told her I was proud of her for healing, for choosing peace, for facing a mountain of betrayal and still finding a way to be kind. She sent a heart emoji. Simple, honest. And for the first time, I realized the story was done. Not in a dramatic the end way, but in a soft, natural fade-out. The way a painful memory stops stinging so much. The way a scar finally stops itching. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about what comes after. Rebuilding, reclaiming, living,